Your Excellencies, Minister of International Cooperation, Her Excellency Dr. Rania Al-Mashat, Minister of Environment, Her Excellency Dr. Yasmin Fouad, Minister of Communication and Information Technology, His Excellency Dr. Amr Tal'at, distinguished guests from development partners, private sector, global tech companies, startups and digital artists. Welcome to the launch of the Global ClimateTech Run 2022. Bienvenue au lancement de la ClimateTech Run mondiale 2022. أهلا بحضراتكم جميعا، سعداء جدا بوجودكم معنا النهارده ونحن بصدد إطلاق المسابقة العالمية ClimateTech Run 2022. Today we are celebrating the launch of this global competition that addresses tech startups and digital artists from around the world in raising awareness on climate action and in finding innovative solutions to outrun climate change on the road to COP27. The competition features 2 tracks, a startup track targeting ICT for climate action complemented by a special focus on Africa, and a second track on digital art for climate. Le concours mondial s'adresse aux startups technologies et aux artistes numériques du monde entier. Notre but est de sensibiliser à l'action climatique et de trouver des solutions innovantes pour faire face aux défis du changement climatique sur la voie de la COP27. تخاطب المسابقة العالمية الشركات الناشئة في مجال التكنولوجيا والفنانين الرقميين من جميع أنحاء العالم بهدف زيادة الوعي بقضية المناخ من أجل إيجاد حلول مبتكرة وفعالة لمواجهة التغير المناخي في طريقنا إلى قمة المناخ COP27. This initiative is led by 3 of our ministries: the Ministry of International Cooperation, the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, in partnership with USAID, Afreximbank, World Food Programme, Google, United Nations Population Fund, along with many collaborators: UNIDO, the UNDP Accelerator Labs, Microsoft, AfriLabs, the Youth Entrepreneurs Network, the IAAI, Glotcha, and Falak Startups. Without any further ado, let me please welcome to the stage Minister of International Cooperation, Her Excellency Dr. Rania Al-Mashat, Minister of Environment, Her Excellency Dr. Yasmin Fouad, and Minister of Communication and Information Technology, His Excellency Dr. Amr Tal'at. Please, I need microphones. I apologize for that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A great pleasure to be among you today with my dear colleagues, Her Excellency Dr. Rania Al-Mashat and Her Excellency Dr. Yasmin Fouad. I believe that this event is sending several very powerful messages that makes me really proud to contribute to. First and most important is the power of innovation and intellect and the role of startups in embracing the challenges that we're trying to confront not only in Egypt but throughout the world. This event sends a powerful message that through innovation, through startups, through youth, we can better our environment, we can better our lives for ourselves and for the future generations as well. This ecosystem that we're trying to forge, that is conducive to intellect and innovation and a new way of thinking out of the box, is definitely the way forward. ICT, as you know, is based on innovation. And the more we think innovatively, the more we succeed. In MCIT, we're trying to help in forging this ecosystem. We've built around 12 incubators throughout the country to receive youth, to help and support startups, concretize the environment from the perspective of technology. Together with my dear colleague, Dr. Yasmin Fouad, we're working on the disposal, the safe disposal of e-waste. We're working also on the swapping of copper cables with fiber optics and, of course, green data centers across the country also to improve environment. We have an R&D center that is working also on several systems that will help with climate change, like the geospatial systems, the urban planning system, and several others that maybe there's no time to go through. But maybe electric cars is definitely one I should also mention. We're also working with several companies in R&D for solutions that will help with climate change and dissipation of the temperature rise. My colleague, Dr. Yasmin Fouad, I'm sure will mention them in elaboration. She's like working day and night on this. But the message is the intertwining efforts of the government, represented by 3 ministries, the international organizations present, the multinational companies, and the civil society, and the local companies, all the elements of the ICT ecosystem is now working together, putting resources, intellectual resources, financial resources, in order to make this happen. This is extremely positive. 2 more elements, and then I'll yield the floor to my dear colleagues. One is to have Africa as a centerpiece in this event. This is very positive. This is the strategy that we should always be pursuing. Second important point I'd like to raise is digital arts and the vitality of digital arts as one of the new disciplines in the ICT industry that is becoming more and more important and playing a pivotal role in the ICT sector. For this, we established the Faculty of Digital Arts within the Egypt University of Informatics that MCIT started last year. We also have several training initiatives, not only for freshmen, but for students starting grade 7 on digital arts, realizing the importance of this subject and its ability to send powerful messages through art and innovation. All the best for the contenders. I'm looking forward to the results. I'm sure a lot of solutions, promising solutions that can be realized into products will come out of this promising event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Amr. Thank you, Rania, for holding that event. Distinguished participants, representatives from the embassy, from the development partners, from the MDBs, as well as other participants from the entrepreneurs and the startup. I have mainly 3 messages, building upon what my dear colleague Amra has just mentioned. That first, we all know that now climate crisis is a reality. A few years ago, everyone was saying, no, that's not real. It has been happening. We have change in temperature. It's just a change in the weather forecast. Now, in every single house around the world on the planet Earth, it's happening. And it's happening very rapidly, and it's happening very aggressively and drastically. And from that perspective, moving from all the words and the voices that was talking about the climate into COP27, the road towards COP27 is a COP for implementation. We called that, as Egypt presidency, a just and ambitious transition. We wanted to translate that on the road towards COP27. Implementation and ambitious. Implementation means what to do on the ground and how to do it. Ambitious mean that we need to raise all our aspiration into that part. Nothing would materialize an ambitious implementation except with the power of voices. But in our COP, it's the power of the youth. It's the startup and the entrepreneurs that can bring the climate innovation and the technology up to the front. The second message, how can they do that? Let's give examples from Egypt. Amr has mentioned some of the activities that we have been working together on how best can a sector like the ICT take the climate and the environment into consideration. 2 quick examples into that. When we come to talk about bicycles and riding bicycles, that's a message for fight against climate change. We're leaving our cars, we're leaving the public transport, and we're recycling. Guess what the Egyptian startup did? They've did the first innovation for the ICT application in order to do the first bike sharing system in El Fayoum, which means you don't own the bike. You use the bike by an application, and you have to return the bike to its station. Second, the electronic waste. What we've been doing in order to emphasize more on the collection of the electronic waste, mobiles, iPads, whatever we have, is that we've joint venture with the youth who have done the first application that's called e-Tadwir. Tadwir in Arabic means recycle. What does e-Tadwir says? It says that if you have an electronic device that you don't use, you can just go to that application. You will have discount to shops. You can go to one of the local store there and just give out your piece. It will be recycled. And this could be applied to so many things in the COP. This could be applied to a carbon footprint, an early warning system application for the farmers in a year that we have a food security issue. This could be applied on how much energy are we using in a building. Call this building a residential or a commercial one. A lot of ideas can be brought to bring our lifestyle closer to technology. But
whether it's the Afri-Exim Bank, USAID, Google, World Food Program, and many others who partnered with us, there are going to be monetary prizes, there's going to be training, there's going to be boot camps, there's going to be the ability of youth around the world to actually engage with one another. As we say, we are all very diverse and different, but we have one goal, one common goal, and that is to protect our planet. Something else which is quite significant for Africa is adaptation and resilience. And that's why, as my colleague Yasmin mentioned, that trying to find innovative solutions in agriculture, water management, trying to see how the different environments that we live in can actually be tackled through innovation and creativity is something else that we are very keen on supporting. As was mentioned, COP is a very inclusive process. My first COP was in Glasgow last year, and I have to say that you see there's a negotiating track that takes place, but then there's everything else. In that everything else space, that's where we all come in. Generation Z comes in, the older generation comes in, multilateral development banks come in, private sector comes in, governments come in, and that's really the space that we want to fill. We want to fill with creativity, new ideas, partnerships, and also collaboration. So this is going to be an initiative that lasts beyond November. I want to make sure that you know, the entrepreneurs from all over, from different continents participate. It's a global competition. It is not a local competition. Extremely, extremely important to emphasize. And we look forward to actually welcoming everybody who's going to be submitting to present in different platforms their projects. And something else, because this is a COP which is from pledges to implementation, we want to see which projects can actually be scaled, which ones can be used in one country, in a different country, and so forth. So this is a very exciting platform. I'm very happy that we've been able to partner together, not just government, but with everyone. And I want to thank the teams behind putting all of this together, the teams from Ministry of International Cooperation, Ministry of Information Technology, Ministry of Environment, and all the partners that are with us here today. I also want to extend a special thanks to the great star, Asir Yassin, who's also going to be a very important face for this competition. As we mentioned, creativity when it comes to digital art is also featured. It's a track in this competition. And the reason is we want to see how best can climate challenges be presented in a digestible way for everybody to understand. Any country that does not take green solutions into consideration is going to be losing a lot. And that's why the Egyptian government has been pushing its green transition and has been pushing that transition in partnership with the world. We are an example of multilateralism. We are an example of a very strong partnership. As Ministry of International Cooperation, I'm very proud of all the work we're doing with all of you, and I want to thank all our partners, bilateral and multilateral, and institutions for all the strong and very passionate work that we have been doing together. Thank you very much. We wanted to say this in Arabic, but I think we'll leave that for the media. We've already done some Arabic already. And again, the website is going to be available. I want everybody to check it out and also disseminate across the different networks. And we look forward to welcoming the youth in Sharm el-Sheikh, November 2022. Thank you.
Thank you. شكرا معالي السادة الوزراء. Thank you so much, Your Excellencies. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have all been waiting for. It's time to officially launch our global competition, ClimateTech Run 2022. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that the ClimateTech Run 2022 has been officially launched. And before we move to our next part and welcome our dear partners, I would like to welcome to the stage one of Egypt's most loved, decent, talented actors, Mr. Asir Yassin.
Hello everyone. Sorry, I haven't been on stage for a while. and I have been in a swimsuit for a very long while as well. So thank you, Your Excellencies, for such an amazing initiative. Thank you for having me part of this. As a mechanical engineer and as an artist, I believe that creativity is the mother of all solutions. This initiative, which paves the way to COP27, is an example of using creativity to find solutions to our biggest common problem, which is climate change. I strongly encourage young artists, and I myself might apply actually in this competition because I do digital art and I always look to invest in green energy and young solutions. So I encourage all young artists and entrepreneurs from all around the world to apply and benefit from various opportunities as well as special prizes and top African prize. We are many, but our goal is one and our planet is one. So let's unite towards that goal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that these efforts wouldn't have been possible without the support and contribution of our ClimateTech partners. So please, I would like to welcome to the stage some of these partners, starting with Ms. Nicole Champagne, Charge d'Affaires of the US Embassy in Cairo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies. It's a pleasure to be with you here this evening to celebrate the launch of ClimateTech Run global competition. Initiatives like this serve as launching pads for ideas and innovation from startups and entrepreneurs to address some of our world's most pressing challenges, including the critical issues of climate change and adaptation. This event marks yet another important milestone in the strong partnership between the United States and Egypt. Over the past 4 decades, the United States government has provided over $30 billion in economic assistance to Egypt, and that includes $15 billion to support Egyptian government and private sector efforts to modernize and grow Egypt's economy. Over the past 10 years, for example, the U.S. government, through USAID, has supported over 10,000 Egyptian startups and entrepreneurs to grow their businesses through business development centers, through business incubators, mentorship opportunities, and increased capital access. And that's why we're here today, to build on this work by celebrating the launch of the ClimateTech Run global competition, part of USAID's nearly $35 million Business Egypt program. As we look towards Egypt's hosting of COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh this November, ClimateTech Run supports and highlights the kinds of initiatives that will drive green innovation and breakthrough technologies in global climate change, while providing novel opportunities for business startups to test and grow their ideas. Climate change is a threat that sees no borders. Around the world, temperatures and sea levels are rising. From more intense forest fires in California, where I come from, to prolonged droughts in the Horn of Africa, to recurring typhoons in Southeast Asia, the world is already experiencing the negative impacts. So the United States is committed to dealing with the climate crisis and cooperating with our global partners like Egypt to strengthen our shared climate ambition. President Biden has made addressing climate change a priority, and we must act now. In this effort, we welcome President Sisi's goal of also making Egypt a leader in combating all components of climate change, including the reduction of emissions and adaptation efforts. The U.S. government looks forward to our partnership with Egypt as we head towards COP27. U.S. businesses and the U.S. government will be in Sharm el-Sheikh in large numbers to support our commitment to help Egypt transition to a green and clean future that will create new jobs for the country's talented and growing workforce, spur new green investments and innovative companies, and transform Egypt's economy for the benefit of all Egyptians. I am pleased the U.S. government, along with Egyptian ministries of international cooperation, environment, and communications and information technology, is supporting this important initiative. And I'd like to recognize other key stakeholders who are present with us today, including the World Food Program, Google, and the African Export-Import Bank. I'd also like to recognize and note our support for the Youth Entrepreneurship Network, or YEN, which will assist the Ministry of International Cooperation in running the competition's online platform and providing a permanent virtual space for sharing ideas and designing climate solutions. Therefore, on behalf of the U.S. government, we encourage all startups from all over the world, and especially Africa and the Middle East, to apply for the ClimateTech Run global competition. And we wish them the best of luck. We will see you all in Sharm el-Sheikh in November. Thank you.
And now I would like to welcome Kanayo Awani, Executive Vice President, Intra-African Trade Bank, to the stage.
Good evening, everybody. And let me start by acknowledging the honorable ministers that are here present. Dr. Rania Al-Mashad, Minister of International Cooperation, good evening, and thank you for the invitation. Dr. Yasmin Fouad, Minister of Environment, and Dr. Talat, Minister of Communication and Information Technology. I'm here representing the President of Afrexim Bank, Dr. Professor Benedict Orama, who could not be here today, but we're esteemed to have been invited to this event. Let me start by giving a brief introduction of Afrexim Bank. We can't always take it for granted that people know us. And especially for the benefit of the enterprises and entrepreneurs that are here today. Afrexim Bank is a pan-African multilateral financial institution mandated to finance and promote intra- and extra-African trade. It has a strong commitment to support the development priorities of the African continent, and it has pursued various interventions including innovative products. In fact, we believe that innovation will help us break the barriers that impede trade on the continent and beyond. Over the last 5 years, we probably disbursed about $16 billion to Egyptian businesses, public and private sector. Africa is one of the most vulnerable regions of the world in terms of climate change, and it is home to 1/5 of the world's population. The adverse consequences of climate change on the continent are significant. Incidents of droughts, temperature rising, as we've heard, desertification, and so on. So we are aligned with the ClimateTech initiative. It brings together contemporary climate issues, finance and technology in an innovative way, empowering the youths. And we also view ClimateTech as being complementary to our initiatives. I won't go in much into too much discussions about what we're doing, but it is just to say that we are aligned in this vision. To the youths that are performing today, I don't know why, I'm feeling sick.
And now we will welcome Dr. Tariq Mteira, Director of UNIDO's Division of Decarbonization and Sustainable Energy, who will be giving his remarks virtually.
Thank you. Good evening and warm greeting from Vienna. Your Excellency, Dr. Rania Mashat, Minister of International Cooperation, Your Excellency Yasmin Fouad, Minister of Environment, Your Excellency Dr. Amr Talat, Minister of Communication and Information Technology. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and pleasure to join you from Vienna on behalf of the Director General of UNIDO, Mr. Gerhard Müller, and the entire UNIDO team for the launch of ClimateTech. Let me start by highlighting why this initiative urgently matters in the broader context of the global fight against climate change. Firstly, there is a vast gap of desperately needed climate technologies. Globally, technologies that will be responsible for reducing approximately half of future CO2 emissions or net zero by 2050 are yet to be made commercially available. The much needed funding for these technologies is particularly deficient in the world's most vulnerable regions. Startups in Africa have only received 2% of the global climate technology venture funding in 2020. Given the continent's exposure to the consequences in Egypt and Africa, we in UNIDO are pleased and honored to be part of this initiative and to contribute with UNIDO's decades-long experience on promoting climate innovation and clean tech globally. With programs such as the Private Finance Advisory Network, PFAN, and the Global Clean Tech Innovation Program, GCIP, and most recently, the partnership with the Global Environmental Facility on FinTech-enabled climate resilience, UNIDO's put innovative solutions at the center of climate action. We are glad and committed to support this initiative and wish all the participants the best in their journey toward commercialization. And we look forward to see you all at Sharm el-Sheikh in November.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tariq, Director of UNIDO's Division of Decarbonization and Sustainable Energy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, but allow me please, I have a good news for you. Ms. Kanayo Awani, she's getting well and she will be rejoining us shortly, inshallah. And lastly, let us welcome Mr. Matt Britton, the President of Google EMEA Business and Operations, who will also provide his remarks through a recorded message.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests and partners, my name is Matt Britton. I'm the President of Google in Africa, Europe and the Middle East. And I want to say thank you for having me here with you today. I'm not there in person, but I will be in person in Egypt for COP27 at Sharm el-Sheikh in November. But I'm happy to speak to you today to support the launch of the ClimateTech Run 2022, introduced by the Egyptian Ministry of International Cooperation in collaboration with the Ministry of Communications and Information Technology and the Minister of the Environment. Our partnership in this initiative is really important to me for two reasons. The first, it reiterates the commitment towards implementation, and the startups that the ClimateTech Run finds and supports will be offering tech solutions for climate adaptation, with young talent promoting technologies that help us adapt to and fight climate change in Africa and globally. As a startup ourselves, we still try to keep that spirit at Google. Now we're 24 years old. We do know how life-changing a good idea can be and how vital this kind of support is to bring an idea to life. So I look forward to seeing the important work that these startups are doing and the solutions they put forward, which could not be more important as we fight the climate crisis. And secondly, I'm delighted to be part of this launch because it highlights a crucial element of the fight against climate change, and that's collaboration. We're here today, as we will be in Sharm el-Sheikh in November, because we share a passion and a commitment for the environment, and we recognise it's only by working together, the private sector, the public sector and the third sector, that we can fight the climate crisis and mitigate the changes already made to our climate. We're delighted to be joining forces with the Egyptian government on this endeavour. Sustainability has been a core value for Google since we began. I joined the company in 2007, and that happens to be the first year we became carbon neutral. 10 years later, 2017, we were matching 100% of our annual electricity consumption with renewable energy. We did that for the first time in 2017. We've done it every year since. And for our third decade of climate action, we set ourselves several major goals. The first is to achieve net zero emissions across all of our operations and our value chain by 2030. We plan to reduce the majority of emissions well before that, and to invest in nature and technology-based carbon removal solutions to neutralise any emissions that remain. One of the key strategies for reaching net zero is our aim to operate on 24/7 carbon-free energy, carbon-free, so that by 2030, every email you send through Gmail, every question you ask us in search, and every YouTube video you watch will be supplied through our data centres by carbon-free energy every hour of every day. Innovation and partnership are a key part of that. That's not new to us. We're already working with African governments and countries to capitalise on the support that technology can give in the fight against climate change. Whether it's through our partnerships with Makerere University in Uganda, through the research my colleagues are doing in our AI centre in Ghana, or the training and support we give to startups across the continent through our Google for Startups Accelerator Africa. We believe the ClimateTech Run will be an impactful initiative, strengthening the global and regional startup ecosystem, promoting resilience and driving tech to solve the climate crisis. I can't wait to see the impact materialise over the coming years, and I know that Egypt, Africa and the world will be better for it. Thank you.
We still have one of our dear partners that I'm honored to welcome on stage. Please welcome Mr. Praveen Agrawal, the World Food Programme Country Director.
Good evening, all. Excellencies, Minister Dr. Al-Mashat, Minister Dr. Fuad, Minister Dr. Talat, members of the Diplomatic Corps, colleagues from the UN, distinguished guests from the private sector, friends, and members of the media. It's a great pleasure to join you today on the launch of this groundbreaking initiative by the government of Egypt. It's exciting to be at the start of a new frontier of innovation, to set new paths, to dwell in the unknown, and know that the results will impact and improve the lives of millions of people in need, those who cannot wait and must have immediate relief and assistance. As an economist, it's exhilarating to see supply try to keep pace with demand. It's an area of infinite growth where our limitation is restricted by our capacity to think it out. When we think of innovation, the mind, the media will immediately turn, with the due permission to all the colleagues that are present, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, TikTok, etc. It's strange to even contemplate, except for a few among us here